And welcome to Content Resources, a busy webinar with Dave Meyer of BizzyWeb. Today we're going to talk about how to find great content and engage your audience. Brief programming note, if you were viewing this before, I apologize. Comcast actually gave out as we were midway into our busy webinar. And so we've got everything back. Everything's back up and rolling again. So apologize to the folks that were on the first webinar. This is going to be the webinar in its entirety, although a little bit shorter to take advantage and to be cognizant of your time. If you have questions during today's event, probably the easiest way at this point is just going to be to send me an email at dave@bizzyweb.com or give us a call at 612-4BUSY-O, 612-424-9990. With that, you can request the PowerPoint slides and ask any general questions that you have. We're going to skip the Q&A portion for today because we don't have quite as much time as we started with. I want to demo just a couple of things as we get started. First, the BizzyWeb website is brand spanking new. So thanks, and please visit the BizzyWeb website to talk about how you can market more effectively in web design, digital marketing, email marketing, or brand strategy. We talk about our process. You can review our events at a glance. You can check out news from the Hive, including the brand new overview of the website, of course. And we've got all kinds of amazing stuff that's available for you at this new and fantastic resource. Also want to invite everyone that's available today in the Minneapolis area to stop by and visit us at the Entrepreneur of the Year Reception and Networking event. That's today from 4 to 6 p.m. Of course, if you're watching this after June 29th, sorry we can't see you today, but we're sponsored by Finnegan's. We'd love to have you here and share some beer and some cake and some wine and just to catch up and get to know all of our networking partners, customers, and friends. So I hope you can join us today from 4 to 6. We are here to talk about content marketing. How do we know what we're doing with content marketing? Well, this is what we do. We are a digital marketing agency. This is pictures of our Hive in Champlin, Minnesota, just a little bit north of Minneapolis. And here's some examples of our websites. And then our digital marketing builds off of the foundation of WordPress-powered websites. And with a single click, you can update your website and then have your website update Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Google+, Pinterest, integrate with your email marketing, and lots more. At its core, marketing is about getting results. What kind of results? Well, we're talking about clicks or downloads, visits to the store, reservations or appointments, and of course calls. All of that should drive toward getting you revenue and or getting you leads. We say content is king, but why? Well, content is really currency in today's world. If you need currency and if you need to get the word out and to get people excited and interested in your business, content is how you do that. You need to be the source that your readers know, like, and trust, and answer your customers' questions to get a good grip on what you can do and what you can say. We all probably have Q&A or frequently asked questions on our websites. That's great fodder for social media. So what are we going to talk about in depth today? Well, we're going to go through some content tools, and I'm going to give you a brief overview and teaser on what some of those tools look like. We'll talk about social media management tools. We're going to talk about social media apps for curating content and for kind of saving content, how to not overthink your content, and then finally, the next steps that are going to get you off and rolling in this content world. As I mentioned, we've got a lot of stuff coming up, so let's get right into it. First, content is one of the biggest hurdles that our clients encounter when they're building their website or when they're doing any marketing, really. First and above all else, just write about what you know that your clients or your lead sources don't know. Anyone that visits your website is there to find out what's in it for them. So focus on what they need and then answer those questions, answer that need, and you can't go wrong. Here's some types of content that you can share with your audience. And based on that, here's a few that you might want to hone in on. Offerings. If you have a new product, you could write a paragraph describing what that product does. Use photos or videos to share quick product demonstrations or tutorials. Or if you have an event coming up, send out all the details in a short email, including a link to register to that event. Updates. If you have a new location, if you have hired a new employee, if you've got a new website or an Entrepreneur of the Year event, for example, you want to send that note out and keep people up to date. Education. You're an expert in your field And even if you don't feel like you are, you're an expert compared to your clients. Otherwise, they wouldn't be your clients. So share about what you know that your audience doesn't. Finally, entertainment. Don't be afraid to show your fun side. If you've seen a funny YouTube video that sort of relates to your business, or if you have heard of an interesting, funny, or inspiring quote that you want to share, or you and your employees have some behind the scenes videos or pictures or something that you can share and show off, that's fantastic and great content to share with your clients. How much? Well, really with all of these posts, it's important not to stress out too much, because in general, less is more. A general blog post shouldn't be longer than 300 words, and images should be limited, and certainly calls to action should be limited by page. How much content on a Facebook post, for example? Well, as a general method of introduction, whether it's email marketing, Facebook posts, social media posts, 20 lines of text or less, in the case of Twitter, 140 characters or less, and 3 pictures or less is a good rule of thumb for what to start with. Similarly, you want to have one link, one call to action only on every page. So make sure that you have a call to action, but don't overdo it. If you have 3 or 5 or 10 things that you're asking people to do on a given page, the likelihood that they're going to do anything drops to almost zero. Structuring your content can absolutely help. You can use outlines to help you further focus your ideas and organize the sections of your messages, any text that you'll write yourself, any photos or videos that you want to use, and any content from outside sources that you want to share. And I'm going to talk about curation in a couple of minutes. Jot down a list of topics that come up in conversations with your customers, members, clients, events, volunteers, or donors, and use those to spark ideas for your email campaigns. If you get 5 questions from your clients, that's 5 separate topics that you can build on. Show your expertise in your field, become a knowledgeable resource for your audience, and they'll look forward to messages from you, and they'll follow you on Facebook and Twitter and visit your website and follow you on email. And then make your messages reflect your brand. For a few more pro tips, go to the BizzyWebinar archive. You can do that via the homepage of BizzyWeb and just go up to Education and Events and then BizzyWebinar archive. So you can see that right here. Or of course, you can just go to BizzyWeb.com/category/BizzyWebinars. So that'll give you a full list and searchable archive of all of the 230 webinars we have available for you. It's also easy to take questions and turn questions that you receive from your clients into content. So here's some examples that questions you might receive from your clients. How do I ensure my pipes won't burst this winter? How do I deduct mileage I drive from work to home each day? What's a simple way to pick the right wine? Or how do I get more people to show up at my events? Well, you can turn those into easy headlines. How do I ensure my pipes won't burst? 5 ways to protect your pipes from freezing this winter. What's a simple way to pick the right wine? Red or white? 5 simple wine pairing tips. All of this stuff is relatively simple, but think about what your client is looking for and interested in and needs, and then build your content to match. And don't forget about images, because images are content as well. 90% of what we process in our brains is visual content. They say that a picture is worth 1,000 words. It's worth 1,000 clicks too. So don't be afraid or shy to post imagery to your posts. Curating content is simply and solely the act of sharing content written by someone else to increase the amount of information you're sharing with your target audience. A very important part of curating content is you must give the author credit, or else this is called plagiarism, and it's illegal, and it's not a good thing. Curating content is a practice that everybody does. I like to call it, one of the things that we do with our clients is what's called the Oreo post. You give a brief introduction to what you're about to share. You share that snippet, and again, not the whole article, but maybe just a paragraph. And then you do the second part or the final closing as a description or context to what you just shared to help people understand. Again, it's not plagiarism if you give credit to the original source and if you only share a bit of it. The internet economy is really based on sharing and on finding amazing things. So you don't have to write everything. And we're going to talk to you in a little bit here about how to find some of that amazing content. Do you have the time for this? Well, everybody's got a lot of time that their daily life takes up, but sharing and interacting often is really what happens and what you can do best on all of these networks. How much should you share? On Facebook, 1 to 3 times a day, Twitter, 5 to 9 times a day. But really, that's a minimum of 6 times a day total if you're going to be serious. Don't panic, because in general and at a baseline, what you need to do is post at least once a week. This is once you get completely set up and you're ready and you're fine and you know that your marketing is going to work and it's driving business into you. Once it's clear that you're getting business from digital marketing, that makes it a lot easier to bookmark some time for that. But you can have a one-stop content shop right inside of all the content that you're building. So for example, here's Marla's Twitter feed. Someone can come up to her social media channels and find all the info that they'd ever want to about her industry. So if you want a full spectrum perspective, it's harder to become that one-stop shop if you're only sharing content that you create. You want to be a curator, just like a museum. Museum curators don't paint all the paintings, they find the content and share it in a compelling way. So that's what you need to try to do with your content and your context. Right here, Maria's doing retweets like RT at John FV Ick advice from someone who once had your position as priceless. So great content, and really just scratching people's backs, sharing content with them, and then they'll share content back with you. It's all about giving you the leg up to share as much as you can, because the more helpful you are, the more legs your social media marketing is going to have. RSS readers can save you time. And here's where we're going to get into a little bit of the Q&A or the show and tell of our event, because RSS readers, in particular Feedly, can help save you time in your marketing. And I'm going to show you how to find some articles and how to use Feedly as a tool to curate and get more information about your business, your industry, or about your customers. And it all starts by going to feedly.com, subscribing up, and then adding feeds. So inside of Feedly, and this is an example from Constant Contact, who of course is a BizzyWeb partner, but you go inside of here and you can search for your industry, for your topics, for everything that you need to do, and then you can add those and organize them by feeds. So for example, this particular tool has art and marketing, and then a whole bunch of blogs that are included in marketing and or art. So based on your interest and the interests of your clients, you can find and discover content. So as you go into that, this is an example, and I'll show you what my Feedly looks like. So if you go into, again, feedly.com, you can subscribe to your content, and then you can browse by the different blog posts that you're interested in. So you see here, I've got a few thousand articles that I can browse through. I do this, I go through all these articles every night, and it takes me about 15 minutes to get through the top levels of each of these. So if I go into all the stuff that's been posted today, or my must reads, or if I'm just browsing through, for example, Daring Fireball or Boing Boing or kotkey.org, all of this content is helpful and interesting to me. And then I'm looking for content that's going to be useful and interesting to my clients. What I do from there, if I find a great article and I want to save it for later, I can save it here, or I can save it within a click to my Instapaper account. This is a step further, and this is what I do as I browse all of my articles. This is my library, and then this is my file cabinet. Instapaper is my file cabinet. So these are the things that I have saved. Today, Twitter launched a dashboard app for small business accounts so that you can manage your small business Twitter account from there. LinkedIn algorithms are having some issues. Houses, Adam Savage describes 4 unusual and useful tools he loves. There's all kinds of wonderful stuff that's in here that I've found interesting, and it's like my teaser or tickler file for what I want to share later. So very helpful and interesting. Where I've found all of these articles is sort of by and large from Alltop. ALLTOP is a fantastic resource for everything under the sun. For example, you can look at topics and say we wanted to browse work-related topics. Here's all of the work-related topics that you can dig into. If I wanted marketing, for example, I would just click on marketing, and here's all of the top stories or all of the top blogs in marketing. So there's AdPulp, ADV, IDA Concepts, Search Engine Journal. Maybe I want to get a little bit more topical, and so I can browse into internet marketing. And so I can see what's going on right now from the official blog of Josh Boxer, the Portent blog, Internet Marketing with a Twist of Lemon. This is a great one, by the way. I review these ones all the time. So if you click on this, then you can bring it in and you can subscribe to the articles that are on here. And generally that's usually through the RSS link. So if I grab this RSS link, I can check that. And then this is the RSS, and then I can import this into my Feedly account by just searching and importing that feed. This is actually a little bit easier in the iOS app, and I'm going to talk about apps later, but that's how you add things in. So if I browse this, so if I click on that, I should be able to add that. Yep, so Explore, Portent blog, and it's already added in my account, but I would simply add to my account if I didn't already have that in there. And then when I do, I can choose which folder I want to subscribe to or I want to put this into. It just helps give you additional context. So that's how to get your content. Once you discover that content, another thing to check out is general tools like Google Alerts. And if you're interested about Google Alerts, just Google Alerts or go to google.com/alerts. It's a great tool to see who's talking about your business. That can help you with email newsletters and social media, and put all of it together into one handy overall tool. And retweet followers and connect with them to get their content and to share back and forth with them. I like Instapaper.com as a great tool to keep all of your to use later content in one place. You can actually set up feeds inside of Instapaper and have your team members subscribe to your RSS feed from Instapaper. And so team members at BizzyWeb have feeds based on their roles in my organization. So whether it's social media, web design, marketing, sales, SEO, different members of my team have subscriptions to that content. So all of that can be used and found through Alltop. I already mentioned this, but you can browse all the top blogs at alltop.com. You can go to alltop.com and you can actually use Alltop as your own RSS like online reader. There's not an online app for it, so it slows things down. I like the interface better at Feedly, but you can use this and you can go to my Alltop and browse all of those articles as well. And if you go to my.alltop.com/BizzyWeb, you can see some of the stuff that we save. As far as images, there's a bunch of great resources that you can use and borrow. PowerPoint, you can create great content here. Canva, Pixlr, PhotoPin, all great places that you can look and browse on your content. The key is to create compelling content, you're going to want to create simple text over backgrounds and images. You need to give people context to that content. You know, sometimes these pictures are going to be obvious and you're not going to need to add text, but any of the tools that I just mentioned, especially Canva and PowerPoint, are very easy to add imagery and connect together in a compelling way. Again, what you're trying to do is give your visitors, your readers, shortcuts, and helpful videos, helpful images stand out a lot more than straight text. So if you have text that you can use to drive people to your content, it's always a winning solution. You can also work with different photos and, you know, choosing the right size, not going too big, avoiding copyright issues, to always use stock photo sites like PhotoPin, which is my favorite, stockvault.net, or freeimages.com. Here's a quick preview of photopin.com. If I have PhotoPin and I want to search for bees, for example, I simply type in search, and then I can go by my license type, and it's commercial, non-commercial, sort by relevance or recent. These ones that are sponsored are paid imagery, so you can buy those images, or you can look around, and so I can find this preview of a bee, and then if I want to get that photo, this is all Creative Commons licensed imagery via Flickr, and so it shows you how to download that image, and then you simply have to grab this HTML and put it into your blog post or into the alt text of the image, depending on how you're using that image. So you're just going to want to credit to them. This is linking to the user and the name of that image, and then you can see that content very simply and easily. So that's how that works. It's very simple and it keeps you out of trouble. One other note, you can also search in Google. So if I search for bees, for example, I can click on images. And then when I click on images, I want to click on more, or actually in search tools, and then usage rights, and then labeled for reuse is what I want to connect with. I don't trust this as much as I trust PhotoPin, because people can quickly and easily just change their license agreements, and they tend to do that a lot less often on PhotoPin and Flickr than they do just via regular image search. So this image, for example, we just saw that at photopin.com as a for pay image. So that's a danger spot right there. Even though you use this, just telling them I found it on Google and Google said that it was fine isn't going to get you anywhere. And you might get hit with an invoice or a lawsuit, depending on if you use that image wrong. So this is an option, but again, I would much rather go for the PhotoPin tool, because it's a lot easier and a lot more safe as far as usage of imagery. So that's how to use photos. Let's talk about content media management tools. There's schedulers, there's engagement tools, and there's analytics tools. Hootsuite's one of the best. It's also a free one that you can use. Inside of Hootsuite, you can quickly browse and review content by topic and source. You can view the different content inside of articles, so you can see scheduled posts. And you can set it and repost things or share things, but the key is not to forget it. You can browse multiple different social media accounts inside of Hootsuite, and you can share and post to Facebook, a business page, LinkedIn, Instagram, and a few others. There is a pay version of Hootsuite, and it's about $5 a head usually, depending on what you're trying to do. So it can get expensive if you have a lot of folks, but can be well worth the time. Again, 2 caveats. You can do this automatically through your website if you want to post to multiple accounts with a single publish stroke. If you do that through your website, it's better than Hootsuite, because Hootsuite uses a URL shortener called Owly, OW.ly, relates to Hootsuite, Owly, right? But you don't need to give search engine credit to Owly by posting links in Owly in your content. Better to post to your content, to your website, to BizzyWeb.com, for example, than to post via Owly. It gives you more SEO credit, and every backlink helps. So my little soapbox on that. As far as engagement, you can post and connect you can have searches for content, and you can respond via Hootsuite. And then, of course, in analytics, you can browse and look at the content that you're seeing daily, weekly, monthly, see the post levels, how many retweets you get, how many mentions you get, and the types of mentions that you're seeing, how many clicks that you see on top of here. So can be very helpful and fun. As far as apps, there's apps for almost everything that we've talked about today. The Feedly app I mentioned, it's great for the iPad version. I love the iOS version, is good for phones and iPads. The Android version is also very good. There's Flipboard, Hootsuite, Buffer, Pocket. I'll do some brief things. We've talked about and shown you Feedly before, so I'm just going to cruise right by that one. Flipboard allows you to do a little bit more magazine style review of content, and you can simply click plus to see more detail inside of there. Hootsuite we've talked about before, but here's an example of what the Hootsuite app looks like. Buffer is another tool that allows you to share content, and it does more proactive searches, so that's a good one. It's also free with a premium version. And Pocket is a lot like Instapaper, but for my money, Instapaper has a little bit more substance and probably a little bit less style, but I'm all about usability, because I just need to get things done in my daily life on the web. Pocket allows you to save links, videos, images, and articles to share later. Same thing with Instapaper. So 6 one, half dozen the other. One's a little prettier, one's a little bit more usable. Instapaper has my vote. So not overthinking is another one of the things that you should be concerned about. Get out of your head. You don't need to do all of this all the time. And you don't need to do so much that it's going to overwhelm you. Just being curious and thinking about what's going to happen. Just ask a question, if nothing else, And that will help you with content to engage your audience with a question or a photo. Also, don't be afraid to be you. One of the things that people want, especially in small business, is to work with people they know and get along with and can trust. You won't get there unless you share something about yourself. And finally, remember to be fun. You need to share helpful and interesting tips, but it shouldn't always be doom and gloom or facts and figures. Share a little bit about your team, a little bit about you, about who you are, what makes you tick, what gets you excited in the morning. With a caveat, don't go too political and don't go too humory or religious. Just especially with politics, you're going to upset half of the people anyway. And so being careful and being clear on who you are and who your customers may be, and then speaking to that and not to your own personal preferences will get you plenty far. As far as final steps, here's an overview of what we talked about today. Set up an RSS reader like Feedly or something similar to that. Set up a social media management tool, search engine optimization, or just a poster like Hootsuite, or using your website to do social media posting. Identify content to share and keep it somewhere. I like Instapaper for my general collection, and then I go back to my box and share up to my team. Schedule and share curated content. You can share this stuff all the time, but then of course have fun and be yourself in your posts. You need to reach your customers where they are. They might be online, they might be on Facebook, LinkedIn, Pinterest, Google+, Instapaper, Instagram, Snapchat, whatever it is, write for your audience, not for you. Use links and keep your content relevant, short, and focused. If you use analytics in your marketing tools to measure what works best and keep growing, keep moving in the right direction, that's a great way to keep engaging and helpful content out there for your clients. If you're looking for 3 steps for content, first, begin with your customer's last question that they asked you, something that was in frequently asked questions, or you just took a call and your customer was wondering this thing. Well, find a picture that relates to that, write a paragraph about it, and then create a call to action. That's the entire point of all of this stuff. And you can share more, you can share less, you can browse Feedly and Twitter and PhotoPin and Google Alerts and all of that stuff. Use them as tools to engage and connect with your clients where it matters most. So, all that said, go to BizzyWeb.com/events to hear more about any of these things or to subscribe to future events. If you'd like to join us again for the Entrepreneur of the Year reception that's going on from 4 to 6 today, I would love to see you there personally. And if you want helpful resources or get an in-depth marketing analysis, go to BizzyWeb.com/buzz or visit our webinars page for 230 plus videos of helpful details and tips and tricks just like this on a little bit broader scale. If you would like to keep up with us, text BIZZY. Watch your autocorrect, BIZZY, not BUSY, but text BIZZY to 22828 to subscribe to our email newsletter. And that newsletter is full of handy tips and tricks, stuff like we've been talking about today. You'll get 1 note a week, no more than that, about what's coming up, what you can do, and a preview of some helpful resources that we've found around the web. If you want to stay up to date in digital marketing, that's a great place to start. We don't share your list. We don't share our list with anyone. We don't market to anyone. And we don't send you sales tools or sales things. What we send you is helpful information. Here's again how to reach me. You can hit me at dave@BizzyWeb.com if you'd like a copy of this deck. I know we went through it pretty quickly, but I want to be cognizant of your time. And I apologize for the folks that registered that caught this a half hour late because Comcast went down and we were scrambling and we finally got it back up. Again, remember, grab your Buzz report at BizzyWeb.com/buzz. Hope to see you soon. And remember, at BizzyWeb, we help you generate buzz without getting stung. Have a great week.